Hello, everybody. This is Meredith Lochran with Geek Insider, and this is Crypt Week, an indie event. I need to work on my intro a little bit better than that. Today, we've got Chuck Pineau, and we are going to talk Belial. Make mine a double.
Yeah.
Hey, how are you?
Exhausted but happy, celebratory, I
All right.
suppose.
Tell us why you're exhausted and what the hell is going on with Belial.
Well, thank you. So I'm Chuck Pineau. I'm a writer and editor, and I am the creator of such things as Welcome to the Void, Belial, and Essence House. And so what's got me so happy and tired right now is that this month I technically have 5 books on crowdfunding right now.
You
Yeah,
are insane, dude.
I am not brilliant. Luckily, 2 of those I don't have to push too hard. I'll certainly bring them up because they're wonderful properties. But 3 of them I do have to push a little harder because I'm attached to them a little stronger, and so I have to make them happen.
Mhm.
And so the other 2 projects, Count Blood, is on Indiegogo right now. So if you check that out, it's a fun one. I edited that back in like 2017 when I first started getting work together with Rob Anderson. So that's finally out. That's kind of exciting. And then Joseph Dewis's Crusade of Dracula is out, which is an absolutely amazing book. It has funded. It's doing quite well. So go check that out. Chucky had his fingerprints on that one too. So that's a really good book. I think you'll love it. And then the 3 things that I'm more attached to and I'm more trying to push right now are Cthulhu Invades Us.
Mhm.
I have a piece in there, a writing piece that I did. There's 50 different creators working on that one. And so it's an ongoing narrative, which is not a normal thing for anthologies. But
No, probably a little bit on the insane side too.
it is, and so as an editor on that, that adds to my insanity a little bit. But I also got to write on it, and I'm super excited because there's so many really talented people, and I really feel like my team definitely stepped up and played with the big boys, and I feel really good about our piece. So I'm so excited to be able to talk about that and show that off. I think it's amazing. And then my audio drama that I co-created with Eric Cockrell is Essence House. We just dropped chapter 17 recently, and out of 20 chapters that are going to be in seasons 1 and 2. And what we've decided to do is to take those 2 seasons, put them together, and turn them into our first novel. And so that novel is kickstarting on right now, and it's actually at 76% at the moment. And you and I are going to talk about that later this week, right? On
Yeah,
Friday, I believe.
that's on Friday. Essence House
Yeah.
has got a block of time where you guys, I think maybe you're going to give us a little preview of what you're
Yes, we
doing.
are.
All
Yep.
right,
We're
so Chuck,
yes.
have you ever heard of like pacing yourself?
No, sorry. What is that a state I've never heard? Is that in English? I don't know what that is. No, you know what the insane thing is that I am editing and working on things all the time, and it just so happened that all these things kind of lined up to happen at the same time. I haven't had any written stuff come out for me since the last Belial in like May of last year.
Mhm.
So it just so happened that all of these things kind of coalesced into this one month. And honestly, I'm kind of happy for it because as exhausted as I am, I can just go, cool, we're gonna push this, and I'm just rather than have like 3 months of I push this, then I push that, then I push that. This is a month and a half of I'm gonna kick butt and I'm gonna push all 3 at once.
Mhm. That's kind of in line with the feast or famine type of thing, you know. I
Yep.
mean, obviously, you want to stay busy with work because you are a freelancer, yes.
Hmm.
So, tell us a little bit about that. Tell us a little bit about the freelancing life for those who are interested, who want to say, hey, how do I get started? I mean, what was your start?
But my start was our good friend Rob Anderson, and what happened with that was I was working on another book, actually a property that never ended up coming out, and I was getting so excited, and I realized when we had a failed Kickstarter that, of course, we failed. I don't have a name. I'm a nobody. So why is anyone gonna come and care about anything I work on? And so I thought, how am I gonna do this? I have to um, endear myself and become ingrained in the industry. And so one thing I started doing was reviewing and checking out a bunch of other people's stuff. But the other thing was, I thought, I could edit. I love the way story works, and I love helping other people out. That'd be really cool. And at one point, Rob, he wanted to do his monsters story, and so he went out and he said, I want to try a new editor out, but finances as they are, you'd have to work for exposure. Are you okay with that? And I came in and I'm like, yep, I'm your guy. I'll do it. He was like, oh, okay. It's exposure, right? And I'm like, that's perfect for me. I'm not worried about money right now. I just want to get my name on some books, and I want to show people what I can do. And I worked with Rob on that book, and we've worked on pretty much everything that he's done since then together, and we've just moved forward, and we just have a very good balancing act and a very good professional and personal relationship. He's a good dude, and he and I we work very well together, and I really have a lot of respect for him.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just kept working for him, and as that happened, I noticed something in the industry that I find really funny, and that is editors don't talk about being editors. They don't. It's like, I edit because I have to, but not because I love it, or I edit but I don't like to talk about it, or I don't know what the mindset is. But for me, I've very much been on the editing soapbox. I am an editor. What we do is important, and I try to talk about that and show that off, and really make that an important aspect of comics, because too many people either don't want editors, they think they can't afford them, which is not really the case. And the other one is they think they don't need them. I'm like, oh, I read your stuff. Are you sure you feel that way? so and that's not necessarily an attack on them, but I use editors. Like, we could all use an editor. We could all use somebody else's viewpoint and another way, like kind of the fan's eye, to look at our work, because we don't see it that way. And so I think because I've done that, that's allowed me to kind of get a name out there. And now I'm a busy bee.
So let me ask you something. What do you think the difference is between, let's say, an alpha or beta reader compared to an editor? Because you have a lot of people who are saying, oh, well, I've got my friends, I've got my family, rather than actually handing out cash to pay for an editor.
Even if it's not a financial thing that you do, as an alpha or a beta reader, we tell you what we think about it. I like it, I don't, whatever. But often they don't necessarily go into specifics. And often, if they're your beta reader, they already love what you do. So they already kind of might have some sort of bias to what you do. And so they're not seeing it from, that perspective of, I don't care, and this is in the most clinical way possible. I don't care about the bias or anything like that. I want what you do to be the best version of itself. And so that bias leaves right away. Also, my name's on that book, so I better bring it. If you come at them for story issues, you're coming at me too, because I put my name on there. And so that's partially my fault. So there's a level of responsibility when you're credited for it and when your name is on that book. So I think that's the real difference.
Mm-hmm. So having gone from trying to create a name, because I think we've all done that just to help build up our social media, just to build up our presence, our reputation, integrity, whether we can, deliver. At what point then do you say, okay, I'm confident now that I can start charging people?
That was actually on Rob. Rob was so amazing because I worked on that first book, and actually while working on that book, they were working on the art and they'd kind of moved on. And he came to me and he said, "Hey, I've got Jax the Anderson happening. Would you edit this too?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay." And he goes, "But you need to get paid now. You're good at what you do. You deserve to get paid." And I was like, "Oh, damn. Well, thank you, dude. Yeah, of course." And so the second job I got paid for, and even I like to tell people this because I think it's very important, because a lot of people look badly on doing exposure work, which I fully disagree on. There's a point where you need to move beyond it, but I think exposure early on, there's nothing wrong with it, especially if you can afford to do it. But he actually came to me and he said, "Man, I love the work that we did on this book. Here's some money." And he ended up paying me for it. So despite the fact that I fully agreed to work for exposure, he still paid me because he respected what I did and what I brought to the project. And he's a real stand-up dude, and he's really been there for me, and it means more than I could probably ever say to him. And so yeah, man, I think that's mostly towards him, but I think also you guys gotta, I mean, you have to find your point for yourselves, where you're like, no, now I'm bringing something to this, and I'm sorry, man, you're gonna have to charge. Like, I need to do something with this. I need to make money too.
Right. So now let's pivot to Belial. Now this is book two. This is book two.
Mm-hmm.
Very exciting stuff. I mean, it's really picking up steam as far as interest. And I've got your Kickstarter up here. Let me just share the screen. And you guys, I mean, 234 backers. That's pretty impressive.
Thank you.
I would not be surprised. Well, let me see. How many? You've got 61 hours to go. I mean, with the fact that you are over goal, 234 backers, I'm kind of surprised that you guys don't have a Projects We Love thing. I mean, what the hell?
I believe that we're not a project we love because of the adult nature. Mm-hmm. It's a more raunchy book, and I find a lot of those books don't get projects we love. And honestly, I'm really okay with that. Like, mm-hmm. I am. If you look at someone like Brian Pulido, he does not get that very often. Brian Pulido does Lady Death and all that kind of stuff. And despite that he brings hundreds of thousands of dollars to the platform, a lot of times he doesn't get project we love. Mm-hmm. And I partially, I wonder, like, at that point, would it even do anything? Would he go from 100,000 to 101? Like, what does that do? You know? So, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. It just, I've noticed that that's something that tends to happen, and so yeah, I'm not too worried about it. I don't. I would love to get it at one point, like Cthulhu Invades Us got it, and I think it totally deserved it. I don't know that Belial's going to be the book that takes me there. I think it will be a different project that gets that.
Okay, so now it seems, because this is the second book that you've edited for Belial, the ongoing story, and there are some people who say that it should be named LINC.
I get it. I do get that.
Is this a project that you think that you're going to be kind of connected to the hip with? I'm sure that there are going to be more of these stories, but again, when it comes to editing, A lot of times we come in and out of these different worlds and find different circles and other jobs and things where maybe you say no, or maybe they're like, oh, we've got to, we want to test somebody else out. That which would probably be difficult, but I mean, how do you feel about this project, and is there any insight that you can give as far as maybe the third installment?
So I love this project. I have a deep reverence and love for this project. When I pitched it as a 4-issue series, and that is what it's going to be. I have, as I usually do, left enough little things open that we can move beyond and we could do another one afterwards. But I think what I would love to do is get the 4 issues out there, and actually, you guys have helped pay for issue 3. I think by the time this is all said and done, issue 3 is very much paid for in a lot of ways. So we'll be moving straight from 2 to 3, and then hopefully into 4, and we'll just get those kind of banged out and shown off to the world, and hopefully people will really like what we've done. And I just, so much of my personality, my sense of humor, my take on a lot of things is in this book. And so it's very important to me. My publishing partner, his name is Chris Latimer, and he's an old friend of mine. He and I have been friends for more than 20 years. And he had talked with Sean, and Sean was the guy who brought me on the project, who pitched me on the idea of Belial. And Chris was like, hey, I have this really cool idea I'd like to write for Belial. And Sean was like, yeah. I really like it. Can we do it? And I was like, no. He's like, what? And I'm like, no, I'm not ready to not be the writer yet. Let me just do this first. Let me get these 4 issues done, and then I might feel a little better. But this is only issue 2, and I'm just not ready to relinquish the reins just yet.
I was on mute. So how much of the, I mean, have you done all of the writing? Have you done some of it? How do you manage between the writing and the editing part? Because we did speak about that earlier, about the editing and sometimes needing that second person.
Yeah, so I don't edit this. My wife, Wendy Gale, edits it. And actually, credit goes to Sean Barbour, my partner, who also came in and did some story edits on this as well. So they're the editors. I'm not an editor on this at all. I am purely the writer, and this is me. I have written this. But yeah, they've come in and they've helped, and Sean was very helpful with building the outline for this one, and us kind of setting up all the stage pieces and stuff. And then once it came to writing, I was in there, and the two of them would take a look at the script afterwards, tell me what they thought, how they felt. I'd make changes where we felt like they were necessary, and we moved on.
So take us back to the beginning of the story when you were thinking about this. Was it prose? Did you always envision it as a comic book or a graphic novel, or what was that like for you?
So this was Sean's idea. Belial is an actual character from ancient, I believe it's Aramaic texts, and so he is the original creator of hell in a lot of those texts. And so he had this really cool idea of Belial taking hell back from Lucifer, and he loves the dripping evil hell stuff. What's up, Dan? Good to see you, buddy. Love that dude. And so he was really into that, and he was my inker for Welcome to the Void, and he liked what I did, and he said, hey man, I really want to do something with this idea. And he threw it to me, and he was like, what do you think? And I immediately got excited, and I created a treatment for what would be the 4 issues right away. And so it was always envisioned as a comic. And I delivered him that treatment, and he was like, dude, I love this. Yeah, let's do this. And I was, okay, awesome. That's really sweet. And so immediately started working on it. And as I started writing it, I realized I didn't want to do just a normal Hell book. I feel like they all have the same sort of feel and tonality. And so if you've read one Hell book, it's like you've read them all. And I didn't want that. And as someone who's not a Hell reader, I felt like I was a perfect guy to go. Why would I follow in those footsteps when I don't even know what those footsteps are? Why don't I just make my own path? And so I decided, let's kind of do more of an Adult Swim style comedy with it. And so we went really dirty and raunchy. And, as much as Sean loves the evil, dark stuff, he also has this wicked sense of humor. He was just like, yeah, okay, this is a lot of fun. Let's do this. And so you'll still see a lot of those kind of touchstones and those Easter eggs and tips of the hat to the original texts and to the history and all that. But it's very much a raunchy comedy.
Mm-hmm. And you did touch on something a little bit earlier where you said that you're leaving these little openings up for maybe extending the story. What about crossovers? Have you thought about working with other people and bringing LINC to other worlds?
Has Rob talked to you?
No, he hasn't. He's been kind of quiet this week.
He's so excited to do a Barbara and LINC story, and I'm open to it. That would be a lot of fun. Again, I'm not sure I'm ready to let somebody else fully write it, but I would love, and it's Rob. So how could I not want to sit down with Rob and bang out a story? Like, that would just be so much fun. So yeah, I'm definitely open to it. A lot of it at this point is just timing. Like, do I have any moment in my schedule to do something like that?
Huh. I am trying to think what that might even look like. But that's a fascinating idea.
LINC is a raunchy little bugger. And so they would just have a lot of fun together. And I think it would just be a lot of him doing raunchy jokes and having fun, and her just playing with it and going with it. So I think it would be really interesting. And like I said, yeah, I'm very much open to see if anyone else came to us and went, hey man, we really want to do a crossover. Like, all right, what does that look like? So I think you got to be open to that kind of stuff, at least to see where it might go and what it might look like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now, with all of these projects going on, how far into the writing, as far as maybe book 4, are you? I mean, have you made this whole story arc? I mean, was that something that maybe you started outlining early on with the idea that it would be 4?
Yeah, the entire story arc is outlined.
Pantser when it comes to writing.
Yeah, no, I'm huge on outlining. So the entire story arc was outlined before I even started working on number 1. I already knew where it was going to end and where we were going to go. I feel like, and I tell this to my writers all the time, if you already know where you're going to go, you can drop hints right away early on, and you seem way smarter than you actually are. Like, we're not necessarily brilliant, but because you thought ahead, you get to look brilliant. You get to go, people go, holy crap, I remember from issue 1, they talk, oh, this is so cool. And so you get to move on, and it gives them another experience, because then there's that level of, I read 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. Holy shit, look what happened. I'm going back to 1. Mm-hmm. And so you always want them to feel like they need to go back and read the previous ones, just because it's like, oh, they already made this aware. Like there was already something touched upon. So yeah, that's already looked at. I haven't started the actual scripts for 3 and 4, but they're plotted out. I know what they look like. I know who we're fighting and what's going on and all that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Is there any kind of insight, a little Easter egg maybe that you can share with us?
So, okay, in issue 1, I gave a very interesting nod. There was this really cool moment where Belial admits that, we're going to have to take on the Horsemen to get my powers back so that we can eventually take on Lucifer. So, of course, Lucifer is going to be the final guy, and he's the aim. We need to take him down so that we can get hell back. But he says in issue 1, we're going to go fight war. LINC, why don't you go gather my army and get me an army? And LINC ends up meeting with them on top of the gates of hell. And Belial is standing sort of watching death wistfully as death rose across the river Styx. And LINC says, you don't have an army. There is no army. No one's going to help you. And he says, yeah, that's fine. I have a plan. It's not a big deal. And he's like, no, it's a huge deal. He goes, no, it's not. Don't even worry about it. Death, that's the one we have to be worried about. It's like, no, man. No, we're about to fight war in his army. Like, death is rowing on a boat. Like, it doesn't matter. And so that was my way of saying what he has to do to deal with death is going to be on a whole other level. And so that's next episode. Next chapter is going to be him versus death. And how is he going to outsmart, fight, take the powers of, deal with death? And I will also tell you that there is a major thing that happens at the end of this issue. And we will immediately at the bottom of that be like, hey, by the way, next issue, this is happening. And so there's definitely a big cliffhanger that will make you go, oh, we don't just have to worry about death. There's even more that's going on.
Mm-hmm. So now let's pivot just a second before we play your Kickstarter video here. Pivot to Essence House, because that is a podcast. You are let me make sure that I get the order right. It started off as a podcast, yes, kind of transposed into just online storytelling, and then finally put it into a book.
Yep.
Okay. It usually goes the other way around.
Yeah, it does. Yep. I'm not one to
little ass backwards there, Chuck.
Yeah, I felt like I proved it already. I'm not the guy who's going to take the path everyone's already shown. I'm like, what if we did that? This one was funny because Essence House, in a sense, is born from extreme failure. In 2018, Eric Cockrell got in touch with me, and he was like, and I had edited his Dulce series, and he was like, dude, you and I got to work on something together. I'm like, yeah, I'd love to. That'd be great. He said, I want you to write with me. I'm like, oh, even better. Yeah. What do you want? And he said, well, I've got this idea for this house, this neat, like, kind of time travel house thing I want to do. And I'm like, okay, cool. That sounds kind of neat. And he's like, why don't we make 2 books? I'll write the first book, you'll write the second book, and we'll do them for NaNoWriMo, National Novel Writing Month. And so 2018, November, we started going. I think he got like a chapter or so done, or at least some pages. I got like a paragraph or 2. And it was just like, no, this isn't happening, man. And he was like, yeah, it's not happening. We don't have enough there. And I didn't fully understand what everything was, and there was very little outline and stuff. And so we kind of went, okay, let's shelf it, and we'll talk about it another time. And so last year, around October of 2019, he came to me and he said, what do you think about doing it again for NaNoWriMo? And I said, no, like it was a failure. I don't think NaNoWriMo is in our future. I don't think that's what we're going to do. And he was like, okay, all right. Well, then why don't we do it in chunks? Like, why don't we do something a little more manageable? And I said, well, now you're talking. And so I was like, but do we want to write a novel? And so we were like, what if we wrote it like the old 1930s and 40s radio programs? And that got both of us really excited. We were like, oh, that's a neat idea. That would be a lot of fun. let's do something like that. And so we then like came together, and I was like, no, I need to know exactly what this is. What are we doing? And we started to outline it and create an idea for it. And we effectively kind of set up that first season of what Essence House would look like. And we were like, cool. And it was gonna the book was literally gonna start on January 1st, 2020. We were going to launch it on January 1st, 2020. We were going to do 20-minute episodes, just because, and that's Eric's brain. Eric is such a smart dude. He was like, look, we need something that people can listen to in the car on their way to work. And the average drive to work, the average commute is at least 20 minutes. So if we go longer than that, first off, we're having to do way more work, but also they might not be able to listen to it in one shot. We'd rather them be able to listen to 1, 2, or 3 episodes rather than only listen to part of one. And I loved that idea. I thought that was smart, and it made sense as far as turning it into chapters. And so we did that, and it was going well, and everything was moving forward. And as we moved along, we got into COVID territory. We got into March and stuff, and so it's moving onward, and it's coming together. And we were really happy with it. And he was just like, what do we do now? Like, we're starting to work on season 2. We're starting to see what that does. And I was like, we still don't know. Like, we still hadn't quite found our audience. We didn't know what we were doing. And I was like, maybe we should seriously consider making a hard ending on the end of 2. And then when it's done, we could just say, cool, it's done. That was a story. And it could basically be a book. And he was like, that's a really good idea. Why don't we just do that, and we could turn it into a novel? And so that became the idea. What we didn't realize is, as we move forward, we found an audience, and things started to go forward, and people are enjoying it. So as much as there is a hard ending on the end of this one, that has not stopped us from planning season 3. So if you are a fan of the audio drama, and it can be found on any of the podcast platforms, if you search for Essence House, we already have started planning and working on season 3.
Wow, keeping busy.
Yeah.
So now, who does? Is it you? Is it? Do you have people who come in to do the voiceovers and things like that? Have you opened up the possibility, or is it because by virtue of being the podcast, it's kind of like your baby?
No, we actually have a voiceover. We decided to treat it as professionally as we could.
Mhm.
We have a professional voiceover actor who does it, and he does all the voices and stuff, and he's super talented. And it's funny, we treat him like he's a member of the team. At the end of season 1, we had him on our after show, and we had him in there, and he was just, we loved being able to talk to him. And it's funny because as it moves forward, we learn more and more about this guy. Like, at the end of chapter 3, we put a song in there, and it was song lyrics by Willie Nelson. And I just thought he was going to say the lyrics and then move on. We weren't asking for anything else. And then he started singing them, and singing them beautifully, by the way. Did a really good job of singing it. We were like, oh crap, this dude's got pipes. And it turns out he's a professional touring musician.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why he's got the whole audio set up. And we're like, oh crap. And so we kind of developed this friendship and relationship. And actually, I think it was when 17 came out, or no, when he got 16, he read 16, and there's this sort of sad moment, and we have hit the emotional beats fairly well, I feel like, in this one. And he actually messaged Eric when he sent him the files, and he said, so I had to redo one of the scenes because I choked up. That was really well done. You really got me. And if you listen to him, he still chokes up. It's not as hard, but you can hear him kind of just take that pause and that stop for a second. You're like, well, if you know it's there, like, wow, dude, we really did. We got him. Like, that's so
Mhm.
cool. So he's become, and this guy has done hundreds of voiceover things, he does a lot of like real crime stuff. And he was like, I've never been able to get invested in something like this. And this is so cool. So it's been a really cool experience. And I'm so glad that Eric convinced me to do that.
Mhm. What a journey,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And then to see where it's going and the potential for that. I mean, it's do you ever feel overwhelmed then, and I'm going to say because and not just by virtue of how much stuff you have on your plate right now, but I mean, do you ever feel like, because I do as a freelancer, that there are some times when I feel like I put so much heart and time and effort into other people's projects that I really get frustrated that I don't feel like I'm working on my own.
What a funny moment for you to ask me that question. Because in 2019, I had one project that came out that was really just my own, and it was Belial. Welcome to the Void had kind of been pushed back, and I haven't been able to get back to it at this moment. And even through this, and then we got into 2020, and I've been working on Aston's House, and then now Belial's coming out. And so now I'm at this point where all of a sudden all these things are coming out with my name as a writer, and it's overwhelming in a good way.
Hmm.
Like, you've seen me busting my butt being on all these shows and everything, and it's because I care and I'm so excited, and I really want them to get out into as many hands as possible. So yeah, I think when you work for other people primarily, especially when you have your own projects that you want to work on, it can be very overwhelming and difficult. And so right now, this period of time here is so rewarding because I'm able to kind of bask in the work that has been done. And, I'm able to have these really cool celebratory moments. I mean, we're about to hit $5,000. I've never done that on a Kickstarter. This Kickstarter has blown away any of my previous Kickstarters in every way possible.
Hmm.
Higher percentage than the original Belial. Almost, we're coming up. So we officially have more than 100 backers, more than we did on the first one. We got 132 the first time around. So we're, if this next 60 hours is good to us, we could even double the amount of backers that we had from the first one by getting like 164 or something. So I mean, there's the potential, and actually the reality is that it's just done really well, and I'm so happy with this campaign and with how excited everyone's been about it and everything. It's hard not to just be so happy. And of course, Aston's House is just over a week in, 75% funded. Cthulhu's doing really well. We've made like 13.5 out of a 20K 20K goal with like 20 days left or so. So yeah, man, like I'm very happy. I feel like everything is doing terrific, and I'm over the moon.
Hmm. So now I heard something about a side bet as far as hitting milestones and things like that. What are you guys doing? I
Oh,
heard
okay.
something about I heard something about tassels, and I heard something about tattoos.
The tassels is just something funny. We were talking about what was it? Sean had said something about we could do a boudoir photo, like a sexy bedroom photo. He's like, 10K, I'll do that. I almost feel like they've earned it, and we might do it anyways. I'm not sure. We'll see. I think that would be pretty hilarious. Uh, and it's totally in brand with Belial, so that's possible.
That'll be
But
like the cosplay cover.
right. Originally, early on, we had talked about doing if we hit 10K somehow, which I don't, that unless some huge miracle happens, and I didn't really foresee hitting 10K either. But if we hit 10K, he and I were going to get matching tattoos. I'm betting that with the next one, we will probably drop that down, and there's a good chance that you see those the LINC tattoos happening between us, because so much of this has helped to fund the next one, that if we follow this same grain or do better, we'll have the money to be able to do something like that. So yeah, that was an idea. Also, we've done a lot of fun publicity stunts. We're gonna eat some the extreme hot chips on our final day, when we officially fund, sort of thing. Probably Thursday night we'll do something like that. We did a hot sauce challenge at the end of day 1, which was pretty insane. We decided we would have some fun, and anytime the number jumped, we would take a shot of hot sauce, and that ended up getting really crazy. You didn't hear about that?
I heard something about it, but I didn't chase down the videos, if there are any.
So there is a video, if you guys want, on Phil Lockler's, it's either Hell of a Show or on his Demonation page. There's the Belial launch day, and if you go to the 59-minute mark, yes, I remember it. What had happened was, we were doing shots. I had said beforehand, I'm like, guys, this is hilarious. We should do this. I'm going to do this. And Phil was like, you're insane, but yeah, okay. And I was like, it's funny. Like, it's totally a stupid hell thing to do. I'm going to do it. It's Frank's Red Hot. Whatever, I can handle it. And Sean was like, yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll do it too. And so Sean got his hot sauce, and he even smothered it over top of a jalapeno and stuff. And so we went into it. By the end of the day, when that show started, we were at $1,522. I still remember the number. And so we were like, yeah, we're going to drink the hot sauce, and ha ha ha. And so we took a shot, and because we ended up bumping up like 10 or 20 bucks. And then someone was like, what if you get to 2,000? Me and my stupid mouth, I was like, we're not getting to 2,000 tonight. So if we do, fine. I'll snort a line of hot sauce, whatever.
Oh.
And these MFers just started, dude, you've got to come out and see these idiots, blah, blah, blah. And money just started going bam, 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 bam. And we hit 1,700, and I was like, oh, shit. These guys are not screwing around. And then when we got into 1,900 territory, I'm like, oh, no. Oh, no. This is seriously going to happen. And one of the girls was like, she was in the audience. She's like, you can't do that. And I was like, guys, I'm not chugging hot sauce anymore. Thank you so much. You guys have been amazing. And they were like, well, what about the snorting? And I was like, I said I would do it. So if we hit 2,000, I'll do it, but I'm done chugging. I've done enough there. And they're like, yeah, okay. So we hit 2,000. And Sean is so funny, because the whole time he was like, hey, man, I'm with you. I'm gonna, whatever you do, I'm gonna do. And so he's drinking, and he's always like, he was one-upping me the whole time. He was like, here's my jalapeno. I'll put some ghost pepper sauce on top. And I'm like, yeah, I don't have access to that. So you're winning there. And then when it came to the snort, I'm like, I guess we're both gonna snort. And he was like, all right, good luck, man. I'm like, you said you had my back. He's like, yeah, no, this is stupid. That's another level.
Sorry, dude. Technical difficulties.
And so if you guys watch at the 59-minute mark, I poured it on my hand, and I snorted it, and it was nuts. It was stupid, and it was so hilarious. And it was just so Belial. That's what Belial is stupid, funny, entertaining. And so that's what we did. And I feel like that's what this whole month has been about, just us having a blast and showing off what we think is a really, really fun property.
Mm-hmm. And on that, we're actually going to play this and kind of go really quickly through your Kickstarter. And let's see here. Now, let me make sure that my audio is working all right. Can you hear that?
Oh, yeah. That's good.
What up, my demons? I'm Chuck Pineau, one half of the Belial creator team. We're super excited to bring you double the fun, double the hilarity, and double the pain in this crazy underdog adventure where our boy, Belial, the original creator of hell, takes on two horsemen, Pestilence and Famine. We have lots of great rewards for you, such as amazing variants by superstar artists such as Steph Wilson, Chris Madd, Thomas Tenney, and even more to come as the campaign rolls on. We would love it if you checked out everything we have in store, because it's only going to get better. Thank you so much, and stay evil.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now let's go through here. The story so far. So Belial is a 32-page action-adventure hell comedy about the original creator of hell. Lucifer has taken his domain from him, and after centuries of wasting away in a crummy bar, he's had enough. Now, with his impish cohort, LINC, and bar manager, former General Mammon, he seeks to take his powers back from the Four Horsemen and usurp Lucifer to once more be the ruler of all hell. This looks like so much fun. The artwork is bold, and again, it looks like a lot of fun. So now I'm going through here, and I see that you've got backers get various cover choices. So Greg Warrenchak, is that how you say his name?
That's
Steph
correct.
Wilson, Chris Madd, Thomas Tenney, with more to come. Tell me about the variant covers. How many are you having? Are people still saying, "Hey, I wanna draw one. I want to supply one"?
Yeah, so I actually we did add one more variant cover, and I had multiple people say, "Hey, can I do work for you?" And I'm like, honestly, I can't even handle it now. Like I can't juggle that many balls right now, and financially, it wasn't really something I was prepared at the time to be able to dive in. So those are people who I was like, "Hey, can we have you on the next one?" They were like, "Yeah, we would love that." Okay, great. Then I'll put you, I'll put you down for the next one. So if you actually scroll down here real quick, down this main, this is the preview. So you get to, I find it's very important that you get to see the first 5 pages of the book at least. So that's the first 5 fully lettered, finished pages of the book. So you get an idea of the story and what we're playing with and what we're doing.
Now, the first 5 pages, that's a good chunk of
right?
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, I think that's really important that people see what's going on. So we did that, and now here's the main cover by Greg Warrenchak. And this is Pestilence. And he needs to go to the bathroom real bad. This alludes to something that happens in the book. So that's the main cover right there. And then Steph Wilson was originally not going to be involved. I was on a show with him, and he heard from Phil and a couple others about Belial, and he was like, "I want an issue. Can I check it out?" And I'm like, "Hell yes." So sent him an issue of it. He loved it, and the jerk sent me a sketch of that cover. And I was like, "Oh, shit. Now I got to make this happen." And so I was like, "Okay, cool. That's the cover." So we made it happen, and him and his wife, Carrie Ann, took care of it and made it gorgeous. And then all along, Chris Madd is someone that I really love and respect. I love what he does. And I had this idea all along of, I want to do like an FU to sexy covers. Because as a writer, I think a lot of us have a certain anonymity or a certain amount of hatred of sexy covers, because a sexy cover can make you so much money and the story doesn't necessarily have to be amazing. And so I was like, I want to do a screw you to sexy covers. So we made this sexy cover and then had LINC pasting his own head on there, which takes away from the sexiness. So, and then Thomas Tenney, who is like just amazing, such an awesome dude, and he's a metal guy or a hard rock guy. He's actually done rock covers for guys like AC/DC and whatnot. And so we thought, oh, we got to have some kind of hard rock homage done by him. And so he took on Meatloaf's Bat Out of Hell.
Mhm.
And this is our Boys into Hell cover. And then David Fott came in partway through during the Blue Moon. And for Halloween and the Blue Moon, we put the two things together. And he did his homage to Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yep. I can see that.
So, yeah, man. Then we got our little chibis, and we weren't able to, because finances were a little tight early on, we weren't able to offer too many goodies. So this time around, it was more about the variant covers and a lot of the kind of a more trimmed down take on things. But I think with everything we have available, and then the stretch goals, we're now aiming for our third stretch goal. We already have a Dookie homage print that has happened. We have a sexy cosplay print by December Lace, and now we're working towards the Belial car air freshener.
Okay. And so now we're going through the team here real quick.
Yep.
That's an old photo of you, because
that is an old photo.
You look like babyface there.
That's 2008. Yeah. There's Greg, the artist. And then that's Scott, our letterer. There's my lovely wife and editor, Wendy. And then I feel like the cover artists don't get their due, and they bring in so much. So we made sure that they felt like they were members of the team. So we have Steph and Carrie Ann. We have Chris Mad. We've got Thomas Tenney. We have Wes Hartman, who did the colors on a lot of these covers. And then we mentioned Chris Hall real quick, but Chris and David got missed. Sadly, we weren't able to get their bios up in time.
Oh, no. So, I mean, you guys have really killed it with 61 hours to go. Let's get that back to full size here. Yeah, I mean, you're right there. You're right on the brink of hitting 5,000, and the next stretch goal is 55.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's hopefully people are tuning in. They'll watch on the replay in the next day or two, and really try and throw it over the edge. That would be amazing.
Yeah, there's usually that surge in the last 48 hours. Basically, anybody who's following your campaign, and we have over 100 followers who have not pledged yet, and so at 48 hours to go, so tomorrow at 10 a.m. they will get a message saying, "Hey, Belial's almost done. Are you guys in, or what's up?" And so we're hoping tomorrow to see that surge.
Mm-hmm. Well, we are nearing an hour. It went by really fast. I didn't know. I didn't know if we were, because we're both like, oh my gosh, my day has been so long. But this has been really fun. Got a lot of information, little insight.
Because you're so easy to chat with, hon.
It's fun. I love doing this, and I see that you love doing what you do too. I think I'd rather be writing or sleeping right now, but hey, it is what it is. I appreciate you for being part of the event, and sharing your story, sharing your insight. I definitely want to invite you back and talk more about the editing process, because I know there are a lot of people who are interested in maybe breaking into the field, maybe finding the difference between what it might be to be like a comic book editor as opposed to prose. There are distinct differences, and and you've got a foot in both worlds. So I think that would be very valuable to bring you back. I hope that you do.
100%. I'd love to.
And, on that note, I want to thank everybody who's tuning in to Geek Insider. This is IndieVent. Make sure that you head over to the website, INDEEVENT. Chuck has a profile page over there. Make sure that you check it out. It's got all of his links. I think it even has links to your Kickstarters for Essence.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
And all your social media. So if you guys are tuning in, make sure you give them a follow, give a like and share. If you're following on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button. On that note, guys, I appreciate you. We'll see you on the next thing. Up next is, let me see, horror movies on an indie budget with John Lachago and Damien Levesque. They are writers and directors of horror films that are out on either Full Moon Features or Shudder. So I hope you guys tune in, and we'll talk to you soon. Chuck, anything else? Last words?
No, man. Thank you guys so much for coming out. We really appreciate everything you guys have done for us. If you're interested, check it out. If you think you know someone who would like it, share it around. But either way, we feel embraced and loved by the indie community, and we give that back absolutely tenfold. We love all of you guys, and we appreciate the support. And thank you so much from the entire team.
All right. On that note, guys, have a great evening. Stay tuned for Indie Vent.